Just before the video starts, I know that the Stepford Metro has not come to SCR and none of the developers have said that it was an operator in SCR. This is purely just for fun. And another thing to add, yes, the name is very similar to Metro. However, Metro is different from the Stepford Metro. One is a commuter operator and the other is an underground operator. Anyways, let's get on with the video. Now there are a few trains that we could consider for the Stepford Metro. If we could consider that the Stepford Metro is a subsurface metro, these are the trains that could run on it. The first train that we could consider for running on the Stepford Metro is the S-Stock, which runs on the London Underground. The S7 was introduced onto the fleet in the year of 2012, whereas the S8 was introduced onto the fleet in the year of 2010. The difference between the S7 and the S8 is the length of the trains. The S7, as described by the number, has 7 coaches, whereas the S8, once again as described by the number, has 8 coaches. That obviously means that the S8 has more capacity than the S7. The last thing to add on to is that the S-Stock has a top speed of 100 km per hour or 62 miles per hour. The next train that we could consider for running on the Stepford Metro, which might sound a bit weird, is the Tyne and Wear Metro car. These trains were constructed in between 1975 and 1981, however, was introduced onto the fleet in the year of 1980. These trains have 4 coaches and the top speed of these units is 80 km per hour or 50 miles per hour and has a capacity of 64 seated and 188 standing. Now, here are some trains for the Stepford Metro if the Stepford Metro was a deep-level metro system. First is obviously these London Underground trains, which include the 1973 stock, the 1972 stock, the 1995 and 1996 stock. Also, another train that might sound weird to include on the Stepford Metro is the Glasgow subway train. I don't know, it doesn't have a name anyways. These trains are going to be replaced by new Stadler trains in 2023 along with the Newcastle Metro trains. Anyways, these trains were constructed in between 1977 and 1979 and entered service in the year of 1980. These trains are 3 cars long and have capacity of 112 seats and 165 standing. And these trains have a top speed of 34 miles per hour. Onto the stations part. Now there are a few stations that we could consider for operating metro services at it. What is different between these and other operators is that since the Stepford Metro was not outlined in any way, shape or form, the route I have come up is similar to some American metros. Let's take Chicago for example. We can see that there are lines that come out from the suburbs into the city center, and yes, this is a British train simulator. However, it is one of the only routes that we could consider running as a metro. Now, since Waterline is already a commuter operator inside of the Benton area, why not better put in the Stepford zone instead? So my plan is that trains are running along the old disused Stepford loop that Metro once used to use. These stations are Stepford Central, City Hospital, Financial Quarter, Stepford Victoria, University, Stepford Southgate, St Helens South, Old Harrow, St Helens Park, St Helens Bridge, and lastly Stepford East. Now, as we already said, the metro system has to radiate outside of the city centre somehow, so we are going to extend the Stepford Metro to have a double loop, and here will be the route. The route will extend on the Willowfield branch before branching off Hemden Park, making use of the abandoned station in between the Willowfield and Whitefield branches. After the abandoned station, the tracks will join just before Stepford UFC, and these will be the stations after it: Whitefield, Lido and Stepford High Street. And as you already probably know, the tracks will join back up after Stepford High Street. Onto the depots part. Now there are probably 3 depots that we could consider for the Stepford Metro. The first one is the Woodhead Lane Depot. Even though the Woodhead Lane Depot is north of Stepford UFC where the tracks are supposed to join, We can use the Woodhead Lane southbound depot and form a triple track junction like the junction at Morganstown. The next depot we could consider is the Stepford depot. The Stepford depot is quite big and I don't think it would be a pain fitting short metro trains in there. The next and last depot, well actually siding, is the Beachley siding. The siding in which primarily the noob trains spawn, however it is a good candidate for running Stepford Metro trains on there. Even though it might be a small siding, I don't think metro trains will be that large to fit in there, except maybe for the S-stock. On to the likeliness part. Now the likeliness of the Stepford Metro coming to SCR is impossible. It is probably impossible because SCR is a heavy-duty train simulator, not a light-duty, and I guess that is what metro trains presumably are. It would be nice to have some metro trains on here to join most likely Waterline, like the new Newcastle metro trains, but in the end it would be cool to have some form of underground/metro type operator. But anyways, that is the end of the video. Hope you enjoyed and goodbye.